So, first of all, why are you so passionate about helping parents build wealth for their children through life insurance? And what do most parents not realize about starting early?
Yes, the key is starting early for sure. So I've seen in my practice over the last 3.5 decades that when we start a person on investing young, it's profound. What happens here is it gives a child a financial foundation that grows for decades to come. And it's one of the most powerful gifts that a parent can give a child. What it does is it is not just life insurance, it's a safe, tax advantaged, long-term wealth building strategy. And if you think about it, to just give a little bit of background, life insurance has two fundamental types. There's term insurance and there's permanent insurance. So I liken it to about a house. So you can lease a house or you can own a house. Leasing a house is like buying term insurance in the sense that term insurance covers the risk only for a set number of years. And after that, it's done. It's kind of like you rent a house at the end of the lease. You give back the keys, you get a receipt, there's done. You have nothing. Owning a house is like permanent insurance in the sense that permanent insurance is something that you own for your whole life. And it's like owning a house because you're going to buy the house and hopefully over the years, the house will grow in value. Same with the life insurance. It can grow in value over time. So what is index universal life? In index universal life, it is a permanent life insurance policy. And so your child would then have life insurance for his or her whole life. And it gives you the opportunity to add additional money whenever you want. If you have a bonus or a raise or lump sums come to you, you can add to it. The money goes into the premium, and the premium then would have one part going to the cost of insurance, one part would go into an equity index, usually the S&P 500, and then that S&P 500 can grow up to a cap, usually somewhere around 10 or 12% per year. And then there's a floor. The floor means that even if the index goes down, that part doesn't go down. You're still going to have the cost of insurance, of course, and administrative expenses. But the key thing here is this. While an S&P 500 can go up and down and up and down and up and down like a roller coaster, the index universal life gives you a much smoother line because it goes up when the S&P 500 goes up and it goes flat when the S&P goes down. It goes up when the S&P goes up, it goes flat when the S&P goes down. So that's what's called the ratchet method, where your gains are there and you don't have any equity losses. So that's a little bit about the distinction between permanent life insurance and term life, and again, breaking down permanent life insurance into whole life insurance and index universal life insurance.
So, how does this strategy work, grow, and stay protected?
Yeah, let's walk through that. So how it works is that the parent would buy a permanent cash value life insurance policy with the child as the insured. It could be whole life, it could be index universal life. Mostly for this video, we'll talk about index universal life simply because I think it gives your child a greater upside opportunity for sure. Why we do this when the children are young is simply because when they're younger, they're probably healthier than they're going to be when they get older, and because they have many, many more decades of time to let the money continue to compound. So remember that it was Albert Einstein who said that the compounding of interest is the eighth wonder of the world. So what you're doing as a parent is you're giving your child the opportunity to benefit from the wisdom of Albert Einstein. I think that's pretty cool. Also, remember that the former governor of Texas, her name was Ann Richards. She came out with a really great line. It's this. It says, early money is like yeast. It makes dough grow. Now, I know that's corny, but it's memorable. Early money is like yeast. It makes time, it makes dough grow. So think of that then with your child. The younger your child is, the more time there is for it to compound. And the cash value then is going to be inside of the index universal life. Here's how that works. So as money goes in, you're going to have a little bit going to the cost of insurance. The rest will go into an equity index, usually the S&P 500, and it's going to give an upside opportunity, usually to a cap of maybe 10 or 12% per year. And then it goes up. And yet when the stock market goes down, it simply goes flat. So it goes up in good times and flat in down times, up in good times and flat in down times. So when the equity index goes down, you don't lose any money. The child's account continues to be there. So remember also that you have a complete tax deferral, which means that there's no taxes on the gains. They continue to grow completely tax deferred. And over the next 20 to 30 years for your child's life, or 40 or 50 years, that's a tremendous time to let the money continue to grow. How it stays protected is simply the embodiment of one of Warren Buffett's famous sayings. Warren Buffett was asked, what are the rules of investing? And Warren said that there's only two rules of investing. Here's what they are. Rule number one, never lose money. Rule number two, remember rule number one. So inside of the index universal life, where you've got the upside of the S&P 500 and a downside floor, you get that protection. So literally what you're doing for your child is you're giving him or her the opportunity to put Warren Buffett's number one rule, which is don't lose money, and remember rule number one, which is don't lose money, to work. So that's all good to me.